Annyeong Chingwade. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Singer Dad Reacts. My name is Josh, and I'm here to do a reaction to the group Forstella. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. Many of you have recommended this group. I'm trying to do better in my first time reactions, where it's the first time that I'm hearing a group, where I don't do much research at all on that group, so that I can come in and not really know much about them and have it be more authentic as far as my first time hearing experience. So, what I do know is that these are four Korean men that came together for, I believe, this competition called like the Phantom Singer, I believe, where it was like the formation of this group type thing. So, with that, normally what I do is I go through the lyrics on my reaction. For this particular song, it is a very unique song. And I did do quite a bit of research to try and figure out, okay, what is the meaning of Bohemian Rhapsody and what was Freddie's intent behind the song? And there are several different theories about that. But it's such a unique song, and there's so many different pieces and parts to and chapters, if you will, to the song. So what I'm going to do, instead of kind of going through the lyrics on this one, plus it's a long song, so I didn't want my reaction to be super long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some links in my description of some of the articles that I found that kind of shed some light on what some possible interpretations of the lyrics are and what the different sections mean and so forth. And you guys can take a look at those and kind of draw your own conclusions. And that's kind of what Freddie said, actually, when he was asked about the lyrics. He said, it's one of those songs where everybody's going to kind of have their own interpretation of it. And that's kind of the magic and the kind of fantasy type, imaginative type element of this particular song, this masterpiece. So with that, I'm excited to hear these guys, and I'm sure they're going to be amazing. So I believe many of the other reactors reacted to the Immortal Songs 2 performance of this song from them, but I couldn't find it anywhere on YouTube. And when I used the links that you guys included in your comments for the Immortal Songs 2 version, it looked like it had been removed from YouTube. So I'm taking this one here, which I think is from a year ago, from this Forstella Mystique Live. So it's not the same one from the Immortal Songs 2, but hopefully that's a good version and you guys like that one. Yeah, that's the one I could find that was available, and it looked like it had quite a few views on it, like 190,000, I think. So it looks pretty popular. So hopefully this is a good representation of their performance of this song. So with that, for those of you that are new to my channel, and for those that have not done so already, if you could please click on the subscribe, that little notifications bell there, to support the channel. I would really appreciate it. And that way you can be notified of any of the new reactions I have coming. So thank you for your support. Let's get into this. I'm excited. Is this the real life? Ooh, that's cool. Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality. Open your eyes, look up to the skies and see. Oh, great blending. I'm just a poor boy, I need no sympathy, 'cause easy come, easy go, little high, little low. Anyway the wind blows, doesn't really matter. So I love this song. One of my favorite covers of this song is the Pentatonix version of Bohemian Rhapsody. And I've mentioned before that the reason I got into reacting is because I always love to watch other like vocal coaches and other reactors react to Pentatonix Bohemian Rhapsody, right? So it's something that I love, and the song is amazing. It's so impressive and super difficult for a group to sing, and especially in this situation with four voices to try and bring it all together. But these guys are solid, and what I like is they're kind of early on showing us different aspects of each of their tones and their voices, right? So this guy here has more kind of the kind of that pop sound, kind of that more contemporary sound. And I think the one to the right of him that was singing before him is got kind of a higher voice, closer to like the Mitch side. So this guy, and it's early on still, but I'm guessing this guy is more kind of like Scott with his approach, and then the other guy is more like Mitch, and of course the guy on the left is like Avi. He's the bass, from what I can tell, and I'm not sure on the guy on the far right. So I'll learn their names and all of that, and figure out if I'm correct with my early assumptions of kind of their voices and their roles. But so far, they're really good. This is like I said, a very difficult song. I'm going to go back. I always try to go back a little bit so I don't miss anything here. Let's see. Doesn't really matter to me. I like that. To me. Mama, yeah, okay. Just kill the man. Put a gun against his head. Pulled my trigger, now he's dead. Mama, life had just begun, and now I've gonna throw it all away. Nice. Mama, didn't mean to make you cry. If I'm not back again this time tomorrow, carry on, carry on, as if nothing really matters. Well, that's cool. See, I love the fact that they're kind of making it their own. They're not trying to like do it like Pentatonix or like these other groups may have done it. They're trying to really make it for Stella and unique in their own right. And part of how they're doing that, from what I can tell, is they're kind of distributing it out, right? So they're having different voices, like they had the bass kind of finish the phrase here. That's very cool. Their voices are really solid. I mean, they've got a lot of talent, and they blend really well together, and the harmonies have been great. These guys are awesome. Let's see. I want to go back a little bit. I love too, like this gentleman here. I love how he's putting. Look at his eyes. He's putting a lot of feeling into. You can tell he really feels the song. And I've talked about this before on my channel. One of the things I love is when a performer brings it and feels it and connects with it at a personal level, and then that comes out in the performance that they give. Because that just, for me, makes it so much more powerful and personal in the way that it impacts those who are experiencing it and listening to it and watching it, right? So bravo to him for really feeling it. You can see like he's got his eyes closed. He's internalizing it. He has some kind of feeling about what he's singing, which makes it that much better a performance and brings more of that artistry to it. So let me go back to when he comes in. You hear that cry in his voice?
If I'm not back again this time tomorrow, carry on, as if nothing really matters. Too late,
Oh,
my time is gone.
he's in his head voice.
Send shivers down my spine, body's aching all the time. Goodbye, everybody. I got to know.
I think he is anyway.
Gotta leave it all behind.
Hear that growl?
Waste you true.
Nice.
Mama.
Good harmonies. That's cool.
I don't wanna die. Sometimes wish I never been born at all.
This is cool. Let's see how they do this. Before they get into this, it actually kind of reminds me of Il Divo, because I'm a big Il Divo fan. Some of you might take offense to that because I know they're trying to kind of be unique and not really copy Il Divo, and I'm not saying that they are, but just the way that they're approaching this as far as like the harmonies, and there's 4 of them, and there is that pop element. So Il Divo, of course, is more classical in the way they approach things. But I believe 2 of these guys are from the classical side. I think one of the tenor and maybe the bass. I can't remember. But that can sometimes come through. And so it's a good mixture. And this song actually, I talked kind of about the different sections of the song, but there's like intro, and there's the ballad part, and then guitar solo and opera, and then the hard rock section, and then of course the ending. So it's a very unique song, and then it has all these different elements in it. It also makes it that much more challenging, because you have to kind of change your voice. But yeah, they're doing a really good job with that. So let me start this section here.
I see a little silhouette of a man.
Scaramouche, will you do the fandango? Sunrise will be lightning, very, very frightening.
That's high.
Galileo Figaro, let me go. I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me. He's just a poor boy from a poor family. Spare him his life from this monstrosity. Easy come, easy go, will you let me go?
Bismillah,
No, we will not let you go. Let it go. Bismillah, we will not let you go. Let it go. Bismillah, we
He's
will
got a
not
high
let
head
you go.
voice.
Let me go. We will not let you go. Let me go. We will not let you go.
let me go.
No, 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 no. Mamma mia, mamma mia. Mamma mia, let me go. Beelzebub is a terrible sight for me, for me, for me.
Wow. Nice. Okay, before he starts into this section. Wow. They're good. This is hard stuff. You have to stop yourself when you're watching a performance of this song and really think about, okay, this is what they're doing. They're doing these crazy vocals, crazy harmonies, switching genres. There's just a lot to it, and it's a super hard song to cover. And they're just doing their own take on it, and each of them has, you can tell, just like Pentatonix actually, each one of them has a really strong voice. And the one guy, I was kind of wrong about him, where I said early on he was more like Scott, but he's got a super high, he's unique. There's not a one-to-one mapping, right, that says, oh, he's Scott. So I was probably off base to try to compare them that way because they're unique and different in their own special way. Because that guy, he's got a super high head voice, so that's definitely unique to him. The other one's got a really high tenor voice that was singing earlier on, but this guy, the one that just sang the high stuff, he's got a amazing head voice. Okay, so let me rewind a little bit so we can go into this next section here. See, he didn't look like he was straining or anything. He was just, he can go higher than that.
So you think you can solve me and spin my So you think you can love me and leave me to die.
Cool harmonies.
Oh, baby, can't do this from me, baby. Just gotta get out. Just gotta get right out of here.
That was a good transition. They're buried together. I like how they pause between this transition.
Nothing really
Start with the bass. Wow.
Anyone can see.
Nice.
Nothing really matters.
Nice vibrato.
Nothing really matters to me.
That was nice. Wow. I'm gonna listen to that again real quick here. Sorry. That was really cool. This type of stuff, I've talked about it before. Because those of you that are new to my channel, my musical background is I'm a classically trained vocalist. I've sung in a lot of choirs. I've done quite a bit of solo stuff, performing on stage. And I've been in smaller groups. Like I had a quartet a men's quartet for about 10 years when I lived in California. I sing lead for that group. And a shout out to those guys that are part of Momentum. So I understand kind of what it takes to do different things. And so I'm not going to be one that underestimates what they just did here, where they were all completely together on this really soft part. And I love at the very end, anywhere the wind blows, there wasn't like a, because that's a tendency is it makes it hard to kind of come together and without, especially, and I don't see one of them kind of directing. Maybe this gentleman here, maybe the third one from the left, he might be directing, his arm is up. But if you don't have someone kind of giving you that cutoff, then you have to really listen closely and practice a lot to sense when that's. And I think what they did is all but one of them is not saying the S. If you listen closely to the end again here when we go through, I think they're softening that a lot to where I think only one of them does the S. And that's another way to do it that makes it a lot easier. But let's watch and see. But yeah, these quiet parts where you're doing these tight harmonies and you're kind of singing through this kind of, kind of a ballad type phrase at the end there, those are harder than people realize. So let's kind of go back to when they started. Yeah, I think he's kind of directing it a little bit. I think more than them, actually. More than just one did the S, but you can kind of see him directing it. And when he came to the end there, he raised his arm up and kind of like this, and that was kind of the cutoff. So they probably worked that out so it wasn't like so obvious where he was going like with an ictus, just something like that. For those of you that know about conducting, that's normally when the cutoff occurs, is when you do the ictus, whether that's with the baton or with your hand or whatever. So I think he might have been directing it just to kind of, when he lifted his arm completely, that's when the S needed to happen. But yeah, super impressive. Yeah, so these guys are the real deal, and I'm excited to hear more of their stuff. They've got a lot of talent and really good voices, and their English was really good too. I mean, I always want to give props, as you have probably noticed on my channel. Language is a big deal, and part of that is my whole philosophy around my channel is music lights the world, right? It's not music lights the United States or, music lights North America. It's music lights the world. And that's why I do my greeting, as you saw there, in the language of the performers. In this case, it was Korean, and hopefully I did well enough with my pronunciation. But that's why I always try to give credit for the performers when they're singing in a second language or a language other than their native language, because that's harder. And I understand that as well because of from my classical training, I had to sing in multiple languages as well, Italian being my favorite. But yeah, these guys are great. This was a great cover of a very difficult song, and they put their own spin on it and had some amazing moments in there. I mean, I don't know their names yet, but the bass is solid. Like at the very beginning, especially, he was hitting some pretty low notes there, and I think he came up when he was kind of singing more in unison or at a little bit higher as well. So I think he's got a pretty good range. They all seem to have really good ranges, and they have good control over their voices and the timbre and the changing the style up, from the classical to pop to entering into their head voice with that, especially that one that sang super high. So tell me more about these guys in the comments, and give me some suggestions as to what other Forstella songs to react to. And I look forward to kind of going on a journey with them. That's part of what I do on my channel. I like to kind of go on a journey with the artists and see how they progress and grow, and how they bring life to different songs and tell the story behind the lyrics. That's part of why I go through the lyrics normally when I do my reactions, because that's a key part of the story and the power that the music can bring. So thank you again for all your support. And as I mentioned before, I'm trying to be more active and post more reactions to my channel and get back on top of that. And I appreciate your patience on that front. Hopefully I can edit this and get it out there quickly, and not have to deal with any copyright issues or anything. But yeah, what I'm going to do is, as I normally do with my reactions, I close by saying that each of you needs to know that you are special, you are loved, and you can accomplish your dreams. And I want to add to that, with all the things that are going on in the world, that you can be happy. Because I think that's important for us in our day, is to know that we can be happy and we can be safe. Hopefully those that are in some of these areas of the world that are experiencing war and devastation, that they can have safety and comfort if they've lost loved ones and lost their homes and things like that. My heart goes out to all of you that in the world that are dealing with that directly. yeah, so with that, I'll close it out. And like I said, hopefully see you next time with another Forstella reaction. Check out my other reactions on my channel. I do have, once I do at least 2 reactions to an artist, I create a playlist for that artist. So if you see a reaction to another artist on my channel and you like that artist, be sure to go into my playlists and find all of my reactions for that artist instead of just kind of hunting around. It's easier that way to kind of focus on a specific artist and see all my reactions to that particular artist. So I get questions sometimes about that, and I tend to put like a link to the playlist for the artist in my reply to kind of let people know where to go to find those other reactions. So I'm telling you now for that reason. And again, thank you for the support, and take care.